Moving on to the next topic, pineal gland. Pineal gland is a endocrine structure which is present in the brain very close to third ventricle. Alright people, you are familiar with this, right? So one hemisphere has got a lateral ventricle. You have one hemisphere, the medial surface of hemisphere has got corpus callosum. You can see this, right? You got a corpus callosum. Just inside this space, there is something called as lateral ventricle. Alright, just beneath that, there is a space called lateral ventricle. So there is going to be choroid plexus. We have striae vascularis that keeps producing cerebrospinal fluid, lateral ventricle. The lateral ventricle of left hemisphere and the lateral ventricle of right hemisphere communicates in the middle. The CSF comes to the middle. That pool of CSF is what is called as third ventricle. Just very close to third ventricle, here, these are all third ventricular regions. You can able to see pineal gland. So this structure is going to be pineal gland, people. It's very interesting. Once upon a time, pineal gland was considered as God's gland. Alright, I don't know, which country or what scientist came up with this idea, but by late 80s and early 90s, pineal gland's job, pineal gland's function was not very well elucidated. Many people thought that it is the seat of God. It is a point where God talks to man like that. It was a kind of a very interesting story that was moving around at that point of time. If you happen to see literatures of late 80s and early 90s, that was the idea about pineal gland, people. Suddenly, alternative, medical practitioners, the kind of God person, they were all using this word pineal gland, pineal gland, pineal gland. That was an era. But science keeps moving, right? It doesn't stagnate. That's the beauty of science. So what happened when the research about pineal gland, their products of secretions are being investigated more and more, we come to know that it is not a God's, communicating region. Rather, pineal gland is an endocrine gland that produces a hormone called melatonin. Alright, pineal gland produces a hormone and that hormone is called as melatonin. It produces a hormone called as melatonin. And what is this melatonin, doctors? Melatonin is a hormone which is involved in sleep-wake cycle. Alright, it actually produces or promotes sleep. Alright, so that's melatonin and that's the job of pineal gland. It's not a God particle or something, it's just an endocrine gland that is essentially involved in one process, which is nothing but maintaining sleep-wake cycle. Alright, and technically called as circadian rhythm and everything. Alright,